There are new games coming that most people are completely sleeping on, and that's a huge mistake. I'm talking about projects that could define the next few years of gaming. Watch till the end, because you'll probably add more than one of these to your wish list.
Man, need us again. I can't do anything.
The Relic. First Guardian is a dark fantasy action RPG with deep Souls-like influences and a rich narrative built around forgotten memories and folktales. Combat is designed around freedom and momentum, allowing you to attack without stamina penalties, while stamina is reserved strictly for defense, dodging, and survival decisions, which creates a more aggressive and expressive pacing instead of cautious meter management. You explore the ruined continent of Arsiltis, slowly piecing together fragments of relics and lost memories scattered across the land. Every weapon and armor piece has its own unique history, with no generic loot tiers, meaning each item carries a specific story tied to the world. Throughout your journey, you face dozens of folktale-inspired bosses, each one shaped by a tragic backstory that unfolds as you fight and learn more about the world's forgotten past.
Listen to their stories. Help them find what they need. The merchants on the road. Everyone you'll meet when we fight to survive. The children you meet at the camp.
Cthulhu: The Cosmic Abyss is a psychological horror adventure inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's mythos, blending cosmic dread with detective-style exploration. Set in a near future where Earth's resources have been depleted, humanity turns to the ocean's abyss in search of salvation, only to uncover horrors that defy logic and comprehension. You play as Noah, accompanied by an AI companion, as you investigate a derelict mining station buried in the deepest reaches of the Pacific Ocean. As you explore eerie underwater environments, you encounter signs of incomprehensible forces lurking beneath the surface. The deeper you descend, the more reality itself begins to bend, with psychological fear becoming a core gameplay element that steadily erodes your sense of certainty and safety.
Just keep your head down, buddy.
This is strange.
Welcome to Pit.
Pragmata is Capcom's sci-fi action-adventure built around a strong narrative focus and tactical gameplay. The story follows two protagonists, Hugh, a stranded astronaut, and Diana, a mysterious android, as they navigate a quarantined lunar research station. After a devastating lunar quake causes the station to go dark, Hugh is left separated from his team and struggling to survive. Diana, an advanced android created from a futuristic material known as Luna Filament, rescues him and becomes his key ally. Gameplay revolves around the integration of combat and exploration, with Hugh handling gunplay while Diana manages real-time hacking mechanics. Progression requires you to constantly balance shooting with system override puzzles, forcing tactical decisions as you fight through hostile environments and unravel what went wrong on the moon.
Man, need us again. I can't do anything.
Tides of Tomorrow is not a traditional post-apocalyptic adventure, but an asynchronous narrative experiment created by the team behind Road 96. The world dynamically changes based on the actions of other players who came before you, meaning your experience is shaped by choices made across different timelines. You play as a Tidewalker, a survivor on the flooded planet Eland, where traces of past players' decisions appear in NPC behavior, world conditions, and even mission structures. A destroyed bridge or missing resource may exist because someone else made a choice that rippled across the sea. At the center of the story is the mystery of plastemia, a strange disease that turns living things into plastic, and your search for a cure while navigating floating settlements and rival factions. Gameplay blends first-person exploration, conversational choice resolution, and light resource gathering as you sail from platform to platform with the ability to choose which player's timeline to follow and continuously reshape your own story through an emergent narrative system designed around shared consequences.
Please, help me.
You know to use that power.
In Konbini One Store, Many Stories is a quiet, human-focused experience centered on the beauty of everyday life. You play as Makoto Hayakawa, a college student helping out at a countryside konbini in early 1990s Japan. Not to chase profits or beat timers, but to live within a gentle daily rhythm. Each shift involves stocking shelves, reordering products, tidying displays, and preparing the store for customers through a calm, tactile simulation that feels more like a warm memory than a traditional management game. The heart of the experience lies in the people you meet, as regular customers have distinct buying habits, quirks, and personal stories that unfold through branching conversations. You might help someone choose ingredients for dinner, answer questions about local gossip, or simply listen, with small choices shaping how relationships evolve over time. The developers emphasize nostalgic aesthetics and ambient sound design to create a meditative atmosphere, and even small details like accidentally placing bread in the fridge and watching customers react naturally make the konbini feel lived in and deeply personal. Invincible VS is a brutal 3 vs 3 tag team fighting game set in the violent world of Invincible. Developed by Quarter Up, a new sub-studio of Skybound Games led by veterans from the Killer Instinct team, the game focuses on heavy, bone-crunching combat where teams of 3 fighters battle to the death. Combat revolves around momentum and timing, with mid-combo tag mechanics that allow you to extend attacks, swap in fresh characters, or escape pressure using a counter tag. Each fighter brings unique abilities inspired directly by the comic and animated series, from Invincible's fast aerial rushdowns to Omni-Man's overwhelming raw power, and Rexplode's explosive projectile-based offense. The game includes a cinematic story mode written with involvement from creators behind the animated series, alongside arcade, training, and online modes featuring rollback netcode for smooth competitive play. At launch, the roster is confirmed to include up to 18 playable characters, with additional fighters planned as downloadable content.
Let's get serious! You have no head! You're nothing! Let me see! Just as I thought! You're nothing!
Control Resonant is the next major chapter in Remedy Entertainment's paranormal universe and serves as a sequel to the 2019 action-adventure Control, leaning even further into action, RPG systems, and supernatural storytelling. You play as Dylan Faden, the brother of Jesse Faden from the original game, as he awakens in a version of New York City twisted by paranatural chaos and hunted by a reality-bending cosmic threat. Unlike the confined setting of the oldest house, the game expands into a surreal reimagining of Manhattan where gravity, space, and reality itself fracture and collapse. Combat introduces a new focus on Dylan's shape-shifting melee weapon known as Aberrant, designed to deliver visceral close-quarters encounters, while exploration becomes more open and progression-driven with stronger RPG elements. Shadow Man Dark A Legacy marks the return of the legendary Shadow Man franchise in a dark and brutal action horror adventure. You step into the role of Jack Boniface, a rookie Shadow Man tasked with preventing the veil between life and death from collapsing. Gameplay draws heavily from gothic horror and intense third-person melee combat, pitting you against cultist zealots and nightmarish creatures born from the dead side. A core mechanic revolves around shifting between the live side and the hellish dead side, allowing you to solve environmental puzzles and survive relentless encounters across both realms. The game also features RPG-light progression systems that let you evolve Jack's skills and equipment as the story grows darker and more dangerous. Mariachi Legends is a distinctive indie Metroidvania infused with strong cultural identity and fast, brutal 2D combat. Set in the vibrant heart of Mexico, the game blends detailed pixel art visuals with intense action as you play as Pablo Cruz, a detective who forms a pact with death itself to gain the supernatural La Sombra form. This transformation allows him to fight back against the evil forces haunting his hometown of Santa Mascota. Alongside combat, the game integrates folklore-inspired systems, tarot mechanics that modify abilities and playstyles, and exploration across large interconnected maps influenced by day and night cycles, as well as shifting moon phases. The world is deeply rooted in local culture, expressed through music, food, festivals, and memorable NPCs, all wrapped in rich Metroidvania design. Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core is a roguelite spin-off of the popular co-op mining shooter Deep Rock Galactic, reworking its formula into deeper, more dangerous caverns built around run-based progression. Instead of starting missions with fully equipped loadouts, players descend with minimal gear and build power during each run by acquiring weapons, perks, and upgrades while exploring hostile environments. Missions are procedurally generated and filled with the alien core spawn, making every descent unpredictable and demanding. The game retains its 1 to 4 player cooperative focus and heavy reliance on teamwork, but introduces steeper difficulty curves that require fast adaptation and strategic decision-making. The developers have been running closed alpha tests and actively gathering community feedback, and while early access was originally planned for late 2025, the game has been delayed into early Q2 2026 to refine combat balance, introduce additional classes, and ensure the experience launches in the strongest possible state. Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG rooted in wuxia and kung fu punk aesthetics, developed and published by S-Game. You play as Soul, an elite assassin drawn into a dangerous conspiracy within the mysterious Phantom world. Combat blends traditional wuxia martial arts with fast-paced action RPG systems, allowing you to wield dual primary weapons alongside a range of secondary Phantom edges, such as axes, hammers, and other specialized tools. Central to combat is the management of Shachi, which functions as both an offensive and defensive resource, demanding precision and timing. The game's world fuses cyberpunk, steampunk, and dark fantasy elements with visual influences reminiscent of the Ming Dynasty, giving it a striking and visceral identity that sets it apart from typical action RPGs. After years of anticipation, Phantom Blade Zero now has a confirmed release date and is scheduled to launch on PS5 and PC on September 9th, 2026.
They're coming. They failed once, but they won't fail again. Phantom and Blade unite. No enemy stands.
Outward 2 continues the philosophy of the original Outward as a challenging, survival-focused, open-world RPG, where you are not a chosen hero, but simply a person trying to endure a hostile world. The sequel is set on the expanded continent of Arai, where survival mechanics such as hunger, sleep, weather exposure, and lingering wounds are just as important as combat and exploration. Core systems from the first game are refined, including more responsive combat, improved visuals and immersion, and the introduction of a full seasonal cycle that meaningfully affects gameplay as merchants relocate, rivers freeze or thaw, and weather patterns shift. There are no quest markers or hand-holding, forcing you to navigate the world through observation, intuition, and consequence-driven decision-making. Even death is not treated as a traditional failure state, instead reshaping your journey in unexpected ways. Players can also venture together through online co-op or split screen, turning survival into a shared struggle.
To us, immersion is much more compelling than empowering. It's going to take everything you got. A time to ponder.
Halloween is an upcoming stealth horror survival game inspired by the iconic slasher franchise and built around tension, fear, and asymmetric gameplay. Players can take on the role of Michael Myers or play as civilians attempting to survive the night in Haddonfield by sneaking through environments, planning escape routes, and using surroundings strategically. Early reveals highlight intense cat-and-mouse encounters and a strong focus on atmosphere, drawing comparisons to other asymmetrical horror experiences while maintaining its own identity rooted in classic slasher terror. The game was officially announced at Sony's State of Play and is confirmed to release on September 8, 2026, launching on PS5, bringing Michael Myers' signature presence and relentless pursuit to interactive form. Avatar Legends. The fighting game is an upcoming one-on-one fighting game set in the beloved Avatar universe, designed to translate elemental combat into fast, tactical duels. The game features hand-drawn 2D animation and focuses on expressive movement and ability-driven combat as players control iconic masters of fire, water, air, and earth. Online play is supported through rollback netcode and full crossplay, ensuring smooth competitive matches across platforms. Closed alpha tests have already taken place, offering an early look at the game's core mechanics and competitive potential. Developed by Gameplay Group International, this project represents the first major dedicated fighting game set in the Avatar world. Ahoy is an ambitious multiplayer naval adventure and simulation set in the late 18th century Caribbean, built on Unreal Engine 5. Designed as a first-person sailing experience, the game places you and your crew aboard historical ships where you manage wind, weather, crew roles, and complex ship operations during long voyages across open seas. Players can explore ports, trade goods, engage in realistic naval combat, and carve their own path through the Age of Sail. The project gained significant attention through a successful Kickstarter campaign and aims to support both cooperative and PvP naval encounters. While a firm release window has not yet been announced, the game is currently listed as upcoming with a release date to be announced, and future updates are planned to expand the experience from structured naval combat into a full, persistent sandbox world.
Or downfall. It is in our nature. We endure, for the voyage is life and dishonor, fame and fortune.
Judas is a long-awaited single-player narrative experience from Ghost Story Games, led by Ken Levine, the creative force behind BioShock and System Shock 2. Rather than focusing on traditional shooter design, the game is built as a story-driven adventure shaped by deep character systems and procedurally influenced environments that respond to your decisions and relationships. The setting is a collapsing generation ship bound for Proxima Centauri, where society is unraveling under the leadership of three opposing figures with conflicting ideologies. As you navigate this fractured world, survival, alliances, betrayal, and personal choice become central themes, with systems designed to react dynamically to how you engage with key characters and unfolding events.
Thought you've ever had? Your love. Like weeds in a garden. What would you do to free yourself?
6 Days in Fallujah is a tactical military first-person shooter rooted in the events of the Second Battle of Fallujah during the Iraq War. The game prioritizes realism over arcade-style action, placing a strong emphasis on strategic movement, squad coordination, and sustained combat tension. Missions are built around narrated real-world accounts from U.S. Marines and Iraqi civilians, grounding the experience in personal perspectives and historical context. One of its defining systems is procedural architecture, which dynamically reshuffles interior layouts and enemy positions each time you play, ensuring encounters remain unpredictable and demanding. After years of controversy and prolonged development, the game entered early access on Windows in June 2023. While console versions were discussed at earlier stages, those plans were ultimately scrapped, so development could remain focused on refining and expanding the PC release.
And he was prepared.
Their black banner.
These terrorists were armed to the teeth.
no one. And you have to root out every insurgent.
We sustained
if you survive.
Human Fall Flat 2 is the officially announced sequel to one of the most successful indie puzzle platformers ever created. Building on the original's signature physics-driven gameplay, the sequel expands open-ended puzzle solving with new environments, challenges, and customization options that encourage creativity and experimentation. Like its predecessor, solutions are not rigidly defined, allowing players to manipulate objects, environments, and their own wobbly characters in unpredictable and often hilarious ways. The game is currently in development and confirmed to launch on Windows and Nintendo Switch 2, with additional platforms expected to be revealed closer to release. Although a specific release date has not yet been announced, Human Fall Flat 2 is currently expected to arrive in 2026 as part of Devolver Digital's upcoming lineup.